a Sunday Papers podcast. Oh, yeah. It's a Sunday Papers podcast. Oh, yeah. It's a Sunday Paper podcast. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a Sunday Paper podcast. It's a Sunday Paper podcast. It's a Sunday Paper podcast. It's a Sunday Paper podcast.
Read all about it. Read all about it. Sunday Papers coming in from the northernmost. I don't know. Is Alaska the northernmost state? It must be. Yeah.
You think?
Do you know? Guess how many miles of coastline there are here in Alaska? How many miles of beaches?
Beaches. I have no idea.
Guess.
Oh my God. I'm going to say 1380.
1,300?
Yeah.
How about 30,000 miles of coastline? More coastline than the rest of the country combined.
Wow.
And somebody told me that, and I said that doesn't make sense. And so I looked it up online, corroborated it twice. Wait, one said 20,000 and one said 30,000, but yeah,
still
is
north
that
of
fucking
20.
nuts?
Wow.
Is that crazy?
So I purposely didn't ask you anything before we pressed record because I want to catch up and everybody can listen in.
All right, good.
You're in Fairbanks.
I'm in Fairbanks, which is, it's not a great town. It's really, I was like, I'm going to Alaska. I'm going to take hikes. I'm going to see bears. It's more like, did you see the True Detective with Jodie Foster?
Yes.
A little more like that vibe.
Lots of gay. It's very gay.
Is it gay? No, but it's sad. It's not sad. I'm sad. The people actually are very happy. They're very there's no bullshit at all. They are just nobody seems neurotic. Everybody's really knows each other. I think in a sense, I'm here in September. Who knows what it's like in January, February, but I don't know. It's kind of nice.
So Fairbanks, I'm looking this up. Juneau, the capital, has 32,000 people in it.
Yeah.
Fairbanks has 500 less than that.
And that's including two military bases.
That's almost like the Staples Center or something or whatever it's called now.
But the landmass is more than 20% of the rest of the. If you compared it to the rest of the U.S., it would take up 20% of the U.S.
Alaska would.
Yes.
Yes. No, I know that. Oh man. All right. Let's see. Sitka, Alaska. What?
It's getting cold. I did a show last night. I'm in 3 different venues in 4 nights. And last night was a gig. And they kept telling me, look, this is kind of a tough gig. Look, this is not going to go well. Look, it's got high ceilings. It's a country western bar. And so I walk in. First thing you see is a sign on the wall that says, fighting, $300 fine. And then I see the bouncer, and he's this big fucking humorless guy. And I go, do you ever actually charge people? He goes, happened 2 nights ago. He goes, there's an ATM machine in the lobby. We hold them, and we make them take the money out. It's cash.
That's hysterical. I'm looking at a map of Alaska, and I never noticed. We're real bastards, man. So the Yukon has a very straight north-south boundary, unbelievably straight east-west boundary, and it goes almost the lower left corner, the southwest corner is right near the water. If it hit the water, it would split Alaska. But America's taken all the coastline.
I don't get it.
If I have that right, I think Alaska goes then along the coast south of Yukon down to British Columbia. Glacier Bay National Park. Well, where's this city?
Yeah, like Vancouver. It goes down. Yeah.
What a bastard move.
No, and we're miles from Russia. Sarah Palin says she can see it
from her porch. But Yukon, we gave them the only coast they have is way, way, way up north. We took away their coastline in the Gulf of Alaska.
Yeah. But I am so fucking bored. You ever get so bored that you enjoy sneezing? Like you feel a sneeze coming and you get excited that you're actually going to feel something for 1 second?
Well, passing gas, I'm sure.
Yes.
That was your favorite until you developed the roids.
Farting, sneezing, jerking off. These are the highlights of my day. There's nothing to do. I walk around the town. It's freezing cold already in September.
All right, what are the what's I'm going to look it up on my phone. Sunrise, sunset.
12-hour days right now, 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock. I've been waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and with nothing to do, kind of a shitty hotel. It's not a great gig. The guys that run it are awesome. And the first night we had an amazing show. It was in this little bar and the people were so great. And these two guys are great. They're both comedians and they're radio guys and they're really awesome. But no, it's a little hellish. But then this weekend is going to be at a theater.
Dude, it's colder than you even sold it as. The high today is 43. The low is 37.
Yeah, and it's rain. It's like a cold, dank. And one of the highlights up here is that you can see the northern lights. It's like a really great spot to see the northern lights. Cloud coverage all week. Sucks.
All right, when are you there until?
I'm leaving Sunday at 3:30 in the afternoon because that was the only direct flight from Seattle to LA, and I arrive at midnight on Sunday night.
But buddy, I'll tell you, you got a hot day up there Sunday, 50 degrees and sunny.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
But no, I just feel bad I'm not getting into nature. I guess there's a hot springs they might take me to on Saturday, so I might go to that.
All right, I like that sound. Yeah.
And what's going on with you? Did you watch the game last night?
All right. So Dennis invites me over, right? So I know people hate us talking about sports. They might not hate this one, even though I'm not good with names or anything like that. But so Dallas is favored to beat the New York Giants. By the way, they've beaten them 13 years in a row. They're favored to beat the New York Giants by 5.5. Okay. So we're watching the game. Around halfway through the game, all of a sudden Dallas goes for it midfield. And Dennis is like, yeah, that's because their kicker's so good. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a minute. If they don't make this, there's no way that guy's going to kick this field goal. And so sure enough, they don't make it. Field goal guy comes out. It's 60 yards, 60-yard field goal. And we're doing little side bets on the table.
Wait, does the Giants kicker?
No, Dallas.
Oh, yeah, he's the best kicker in the league.
I did not know that. So Dennis goes, yeah, I'll bet $1 he makes it. I'm like, even odds on a 60? I'm like, sure, I'll take your money. The guy just drills it. No one, even Al Michaels is not even that impressed. He's just like, whoosh right through. Okay, so gets to the end of the game. Dallas then gets the ball. They're up by 5 because of how uncanny the odds are, right? They are giving away 5.5. I have Dallas. Dennis has Giants. So I need them to score or I lose because they're at 5. And then sure enough, it works out to where, all right, there's like 5 seconds on the clock and that was their third down. They didn't get first. Bring out the kicker for a, I don't know, 38-yard field goal, like a gimme.
Yeah.
Al Michaels literally goes, well, this field goal means a lot to a lot of people, if you know what I mean. And then the other announcer laughs and goes, yep, if you know what we mean, a lot of people are watching. Like, this kick is very good news. It's assumed he's going to make it.
Because you got to cover the half a point.
I got to cover the half a point. And they both joke because there's still that little agreement that they're not going to talk about betting or recognize the point spread line. But they both laugh like, well, this has turned out well for a bunch of people out there. And the guy lines up and it looked like he tried to miss it. He just aimed right, and nailed it right.
No shit. Really?
Missed wide right.
Whoa.
And Dennis had already paid me the $10 he owed me and then grabbed it out of my hands.
That's amazing.
But I don't know. Like, I know there's one guy on Instagram who just talks about bad beats, and he's so funny, especially around Kansas City and how protected they are. And he's like, would you look at this? I can't even believe it. The line is 3. Like, and that's how he talks about his bad beats. I felt like that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's going crazy over this one.
Well, I went crazy last weekend. On Sunday, I'm in a suicide pool. So if people don't know what that is, you basically pick one team a week, every week. You can't pick the same team twice. If they win, you stay in. If they lose, you're out. Suicide pool. So I've won it twice. I've been in it for about 12 years. I've won it twice. And
you always do very well.
There's about 200 people in the pool. So this week, it's down to, I don't know if you know this, but there's been crazy upsets this season. So going into week 3, which was last weekend, I had 3 of my 4 picks left. But meanwhile, 2/3 of the pool was completely out. So I'm in great shape. And then I fucking lost all 3. The pool is now down to 9 people out of it. There was like 250 people this year. And in week 3, it's down to 9. Like, it's never been like that before.
Right. I think the Jets were a spoiler, weren't they?
Yep.
You don't bet on New York, though.
No, it's actually one of my games I lost this week. I broke my rule, and I bet on Cleveland. And the Giants beat them.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Wait, let's see. Who the Jets were Thursday night. I did very well. So, MGM has that betting app that's not legal in California, but it is in Tennessee. I won 5 out of 8 bets. But I'll tell you what, the whole country's going to go broke. I mean, no doubt about it. Because you chase bad money, you do live bets, you can bet any second of the game you want.
But, game time is a good... all right, let's get to our logo this week. I didn't write it down. But it's actually a logo that they did not design. They forwarded it to me. It was one of the guys from the band Blondie made this logo. So even though one of those guys looks like you and one looks like me a little bit, that's the Blondie. Do you remember the album Parallel Lines? Fucking amazing Blondie album. So they put that in there. The song this week, amazing. DJ Seaweed always comes up big.
You didn't send it to me.
Oh, fuck. All right.
DJ Seaweed. In all fairness, haven't given it a listen yet. Can't wait to hear it.
All right, can't wait. You'll love it. And again, always listen to the end of the show. You can hear the entire song instead of just the snippet we put in. A couple corrections. Megan from New Jersey. Out of context, yes, it sounded over the top as listener response to the cartoon of the bathroom scene between woman and 2 dogs. Is the caption contest. Mm-hmm. But I believe my fellow Sunday Papers fan may have been alluding to the toilet baby as a plot device cultural phenomenon within the hilarious and absurd world of Danny McBride's Righteous Gemstones. Let me know if you need my mom's Max login. Well, that's nice.
By the way, I have to do Righteous Gemstones. I gotta.
So good.
I know. What am I doing? I love all those people.
I'll tell you what. Vice Principals is just as good. It's the same 2 guys.
Yep.
Also HBO show. John Park said the pod seems to be weird. Did AI edit it? Felt like a turntable that would speed up and slow down. I got that comment from 4 or 5 people. So,
whoa, what do they mean? Maybe it's us. Maybe it's actually very human, not AI. It's us on our drugs.
That's right. My Ritalin sometimes pauses. No, I think it might have been the Zoom freezing. That would make sense for the audio, though. That's very weird.
No, it does. I've seen where Zoom catches up.
No, but the audio is not Zoom, unless you're talking about the screen.
True. I don't know.
All right, we're gonna ask John. Chris Denman has given up on us entirely. He does. Not only does he not join the show, I I text him, "Are you going to be around?" And he ghosts us. He used
Not
to
me.
love this show.
I don't reach out to him. Not me. Sounds like we're very hip. We're like a turntable that speeds up and slows down. You mean scratching? Yes. I'm from the Bronx. That checks. Greg's dad's from the Bronx.
That's right. I'm from the Bronx. I lived there till I was about 7. You can hear my accent.
All right.
Nathan said you were right with the name Walter when you were talking to Rashawn. Oh, this is from my podcast.
Oh, okay. Good comment.
I know this is on Sunday Papers, and this correction was to actually say you were correct. One this. I was
that's
talking,
funny.
Fattest guy, Guinness Book of World Records, fattest guy. Can you remember his name?
Walter.
Walter what?
Walter, Poundage.
Hudson. You don't remember that? Didn't you used to read the Guinness Book of World Records, and he was buried in a piano case, they said?
My attention was always stolen by the two fat twins on motorcycles.
On motorcycles. On mini bikes. Yeah.
Well, were they?
Yeah, right. And then we got some tour dates coming up. Busy
Oh, by
year.
the way, before you get that, remind me, motorcycles reminded me of it. Oh, boy. Remember I sent you and Aaron up into the Malibu mountains?
Yeah, great ride.
Dude, there is a roadhouse and coffee shop, which is also like a wine. Like there's a lot of girls roséing all day there. But like in this small road up by Mulholland, you wouldn't believe the like weekend scene there.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you exactly where it is.
All right. I will be coming to Tulsa. We were in Tulsa last year seeing Springsteen. So I'm going to be back. I'm going to go to the Bob Dylan Museum again. That's October 10th to the 12th at Bricktown. Kansas City at the Funny Bone, October 18, 19. Helium in Philly, November 7th to the 9th. That one always sells out. Get your tickets in advance. Tacoma, Tempe, San Francisco, Cleveland, Janesville, Wisconsin, Nyack, New York, Raleigh, Milwaukee, all at fitzdog.com. Get some tickets. And by the way, don't forget, if you haven't seen the special, You Know Me, we just hit 370,000 views.
Come on, y'all.
It's still growing. I know.
Hey, we should also tell them about the New York Post.
What?
Shouldn't we send them to that link? I'm going to find it right now.
Oh, yeah. The New York Post was reached out to us. We developed kind of an internet, what do you call it? A segment?
Yeah, it was going to be a little segment on NewYorkPost.com. And we taped, it's very, very similar to this. They approached us because they liked this. Let me find it now.
If you go to fitzdog.com, I'm going to have the link on that if you want to watch it, or just search Sunday Papers NewYorkPost.com maybe? I don't know.
If you put in, what I did is I put NY Post and Gibbons, and it popped up. And the title is Comedians Take a Stab at Diddy and More. And the name of it is Headliners.
Headliners. Okay, check it out.
And we've been
also,
bad. It's been up there a month, but it's very hard to find unless you're that specific on the search.
Yeah, so go watch it, and then maybe they'll pick it up to a series. That would be nice.
Go watch it and tell them, I need to see this every week. Yeah.
The support from Sunday Papers comes from Ground News, which is, if you want to check it out, groundnews.com/SP. Get 40% off the Vantage plan. It's kind of perfect for Sunday Papers. We're like a show that tries to present. We really do. We try to present politically neutral, a little bit of both sides. Sometimes we get criticized because we are, it's pretty obvious we're Democrats, but we don't lean on that. We don't want to make it uncomfortable for somebody that doesn't agree with us. And so anyway, Ground News does kind of that. It lets you go on a site that gives you all sides, so you're not stuck in your echo chamber. Nobody trusts the media anymore. So this website lets you gather related articles about the same thing, and then it gives them rankings on which direction they lean in, and also where the news source comes from. Like that newspaper or that website, are they financed internationally? Are they financed independently? Is it, corporate? I mean, you got to see. The main thing is find out where your news is coming from.
Yeah. Did you? So I found an example of a story, and they showed you the same story, left, center, right. And so the left was Dick Cheney says he's voting for Harris in November, and Trump can never be trusted with power again. The center, as you might imagine, the center goes, former Vice President Dick Cheney to vote for Kamala Harris. And then the right was architect of war Dick Cheney endorses Kamala for president. It should have been architect for war Dick Cheney endorses allegedly black Kamala for president.
Right. Now, there was I found one talking about Kamala going to the border. And this one came from, it's called The Straits Times, and it is owned by a media conglomerate, Singapore-based. They even tell you that. And the story says, Vice President Kamala Harris will visit the U.S.-Mexico border for the first time in her presidential campaign on September 27th, as her Republican opponent, Donald Trump, doubles down on the message that immigrants pose a danger to America. Ms. Harris, a Democrat, is visiting a border town of fewer than 17,000 people with a message ripped from Trump's playbook, hoping to sell voters on ways she can. All right. And then the other one called the Alternate Independent, it presents the same story, but they kind of come down on Trump. So you just see the discrepancies on how things are presented. You can input topics that you want to see in your news feed. You can sort of craft it, but at the same time, every article is sort of stamped with all the different gradations of who it represents.
Yeah, it's sort of like the old follow the money. Follow the money. You want to know the self-interest of the media outlet that you're reading, and this one does that work for you.
Ground News is a perfect sponsor for Sunday Papers to help us share our stories with you. Go to groundnews.com/SP to get 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan, which will unlock access to all their news analysis features. I think Ground News is doing important work. I hope you'll check them out. That's ground, ground.news/SP. Also, support from Sunday Papers comes from Mint Mobile. Oh
yeah.
Finally, an answer to the phone problem. Look, I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to sit on hold for 35 minutes while one of the major, I don't know if I'm allowed to say them, the competitors, they get you on the phone and then they start piping in their commercial about how our new 5G network is the best thing that ever happened to you. You can't get it anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? You can. It's easy.
This is easy. $15 a month.
With the purchase of a 3-month plan. And I kind of called them on it. I wanted to see if this was real. So I went on and I got it. There's no hoops. There's no BS. It's easy. It's so easy to get. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold waiting to break up with I'm not going to say the name of the company. The website is amazing. Activation is a piece of cake. I did the whole thing in literally like 20 minutes. To get started, go to mintmobile.com/papers. There you'll see that right now, all 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest, this sound familiar? 5G network. Same thing. Yep. You can use your own phone. You don't have to buy a new phone. With any Mint Mobile plan, bring your phone number, same number, along with your existing contacts. Find out how easy it is to switch to Mint Mobile. To get this new customer offer and your 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/papers. That's mintmobile.com/papers. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/papers. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower than 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
You did that very well.
It's almost like my father did this for a living.
Imagine. All right, I got a piece of paper, y'all.
That's Crinkle It.
Front page.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
Okay, look what you put in here.
Well, we're both from New York, so I thought this would be interesting. Mayor Eric Adams took bribes, including, this is New York City's mayor, including $123 in free flights and other ritzy perks from foreign nationals in exchange for favors. The historic 5-count indictment, the first against a sitting New York City mayor, details an alleged decades-old pattern of corruption that includes obtaining $10 million in public campaign funds. So basically, you got it from wealthy foreign business people, a Turkish government official seeking to gain influence. Turkish? He's a New York City mayor? Taking money from Turkey? Are they looking for better positions on the line for their Uber drivers at LaGuardia? What's the juice they're trying?
This is the Turkish Uber drivers, Greg?
There's a lot of Turkish Uber drivers. And then they take you to get a falafel on the way back in Port Washington, Long Island.
I don't think it's a coincidence. Last week we did a story on New York City having the most rats of any city. Bingo.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is a rat. Get him out. I fear, my only fear about this story is that this is an intentional distraction from him because no one's talking about what an idiot he is anymore. Now they're just talking about him as a criminal.
He is one of the most... I mean, here's the thing about being a New York City mayor. You are hated by so many, loved by some. It's a ruthless job, and this guy was not popular.
Yeah.
But, how do you do it? How do you do it? You're in the public eye, and it just... Like you look at Clarence Thomas, and not to point at another black man, that sounded racist. I mean, there's a lot of people that are on the hook with people, but I just don't understand. I don't. Aren't you're going to make money out of office? You're going to write a book. You're going to do lectures. You're going to make your money. You don't need to take it from fucking Turkey.
The bar has been so lowered. Like the amount of money that Trump makes, and when he puts up like the Secret Service in the conflicts of interest are just crazy. He charges the top rate to put up government employees, and he constantly does that stuff. And it's like there used to be with both Democrats and Republicans.
No, the Clintons go out and they speak in front. They get paid $1 million by a bank, and then they go in and they vote. They put in legislation.
I know, and it used to be like you would be shamed.
Yeah,
and you had a fear of being shamed, and maybe hopefully you were virtuous, and that's why you didn't do it. But otherwise, you had this fear of being shamed, and that would stop you on both the left and the right, and like that's gone.
Yep. Listen, Helene. Now weakened to a tropical storm as it barreled through the southeast. Remember, it was only women's names, hurricanes, and then I think now they switch from men to women.
I think they did. Yeah, no, they definitely did. But no, I remember there was a Hurricane Bob back in like the 90s or 80s. I remember that one. But so Helene, I did hear a funny story that this woman. You could tell she's like, look, the rain has started. So she was at a wedding that was being canceled, and it was her friend getting married. And Helene was the name of the groom's ex-wife.
Yeah, I think Attell used to have a joke like they name them after women because at the end of it, you lose your house and you're standing naked in your driveway going, what just happened? It's barreled through the southeast of Florida, still has enough power to inflict historic flooding across many states. Power outages for millions. 22 people are dead so far.
Oh, we're going to do a Florida man story. Let's just say his house quite flooded.
The Taylor County Sheriff has a grim warning for residents who have chosen to ignore evacuation orders. Mark yourself with your information so officials can identify you later. He said, take a black magic marker, write your name, your social security number on your arm. Here's the thing. Florida is home to a lot of Holocaust survivors. Not cool to ask them to write a number on their arm to be identified by.
Plus, they already got one.
They already got one.
Why are you having them do? It's only going to confuse things.
Oh my God. Well,
just use it's. How lucky are you that this took place in Florida? Just use the numbers that are on
right. It's like a QVC thing. You just scan it.
Yeah.
Or like the other people with, and then the other part of Florida are all these rednecks with tattoos, and it's always like the day that their brother died in an alligator incident, and so they've got all those numbers.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, the real message, Florida is getting a big message. The Floridians, get out.
Mm-hmm.
This is the end of time stuff. Listen to this part. Where is it? Where didn't I put it in?
In a newscast Thursday, a reporter
Oh, yeah.
cited reports of alligators swimming through some flooded streets and warned people not to venture out into the floodwaters.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many of them. And hold on, I'm reading this. Yeah, they had pictures of these alligators in the street outside of homes. And by the way, they're not that far away to begin with. They've just moved in a little bit.
Look, I'm opposed to high-capacity assault rifles. I'll just say that, except in Florida. They should be allowed to have fucking tanks, grenade launchers, the shit they're dealing with down there, hazmat suits.
And it's early in the season. I mean, aren't they all lining up now?
What, the hurricanes?
Yes.
No, this is about time. This is when it usually happens.
Oh no. October, I think, is peak. I think.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought it was like late August.
I'm gonna Google that right now.
I mean,
Peak
my mom
hurricanes.
lives on the East Coast, and she's in Jupiter, which is about 20 minutes north of where your father lives in West
Yep.
Palm, and they are in the crosshairs when half the storms come from the West Coast into what they call the Panhandle, and then the other half comes straight at Jupiter, Florida, right at my mom, and then they always, thank God, at the last minute, it always veers off and goes north. So she hasn't gotten hit that hard yet, but she's on the ground floor of her apartment, and it faces the ocean.
September, you're right. September is the busiest, but it's the middle. There's 3 months. It's August, September, October.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here we are.
Speaking
it
of
wasn't
Florida,
bad.
you want to read about SpaceX?
What did your mom say about she was down there during this?
No, she's on the East Coast, so it wasn't hitting her, but I called my
No, but I mean, my dad was sunny, but then the rains came, and they were worried about maybe power outages on the East Coast, but I don't think it ever happened.
My godmother, who I love very much, and she's on an oxygen thing, and she's got a fucking one of those strollers she's got to push around. Anyway, her house got annihilated. She lives above Tampa. So last year, or was it 2 years ago? When was the big hurricane? Was it 2 years ago? She got annihilated, like the roof, everything. And so she had to like partially rebuild her house. So I called her yesterday, and she said that they just have heavy rain and wind, and she thinks it's going to pass. It's going to Tallahassee, which I guess is about an hour and a half north of her. So she should be okay.
No, it already went through Tallahassee, and now it's really messing up Georgia and North Carolina, but it's also heading to Tennessee.
Damn.
That's the latest target, yeah, and they just went through really bad flooding in parts of Georgia and stuff. So this is not good news at all.
Hurricanes don't like the red states.
They don't.
Let's do some SpaceX.
SpaceX's Crew 9 mission to rescue stranded astronauts launches tomorrow. So I was with Gibbons this morning, and he's like, how come you guys aren't talking about the stranded astronauts? So I'm like, all right. And it's very topical now because the Crew 9 mission was initially scheduled for a mid-August launch, but was delayed by a month to allow more time for analyzing issues with Boeing's Starliner aircraft. But I mean, how dare they question Boeing's reliability? What morons. By the way, even the name Boeing is like the sound effect for something breaking, like boing.
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 There you go. There's our clip for this week.
The departure date was further postponed this week due to Tropical Storm Helene. Like these guys, so these stranded astronauts are up there, and they keep reading the news about all these delays to come up and get them. So the Crew 9 mission has been replanned to bring home the astronauts. The duo has been stranded in space for several months after their Boeing Starliner, another Boeing, experienced helium leaks and issues with its reaction control thrusters.
Well, at least there's helium in the cockpit. They're having a few laughs.
Yeah. NASA deemed it too risky for them to return by the same capsule, extending their 8-day mission to over 8 months. 8 days to 8 months. When my stay goes a day over, like when I go to Nashville or whatever, or when I'm in like Michigan in a hotel, I'm washing my underwear in the sink and blow drying it. That's what happens to me.
Yeah, right. It's just like the Gilligan's Island of space on an 8-day tour.
Totally.
But also, like, I think I mentioned this on the show, but when I hear about how long it takes, by the way, SpaceX had to step in because NASA couldn't fucking do it. They were saying it was going to take them a year to put it together. Didn't they put together the space program in the 60s? Like in 1969 was the first flight up to the moon. They planned it in like 2 years. This was no computers. This was no, do they use nuclear power at all? No, it's probably all gas, right? But
gas,
you're talking about, I had a
fuel.
1969 car. I had a 69 Bel Air. That thing fucking broke down every other day. They launched something to space where you had to literally get in sync with the moon's gravitational pull to get spun around, to get the velocity to come back to Earth. And at one point, they got into it and somebody hit the wrong button on the keyboard, and they fell out of the moon's gravitational force. They literally could have floated, this is in 69, could have floated into space. They manually adjusted it and saved the fucking, I mean, it's insane what they did. And now we, with all our technology, I mean, there's more space on a fucking zip drive now than they had in the entire, more computer technology in a laptop now than they had in those entire spaceships back then.
No, I'm looking up like the calculator was not like mainstream at all, even, I don't think. I might have that wrong. I thought
no, they had an abacus. I remember there was a space abacus.
Well, now I'm looking up and it says the first commercially successful adding machine was 1886. But I thought NASA had something to do, maybe when it's getting it like mainstream, kind of like a home calculator.
I think they did Tang. I think Tang was the big thing to come out of the space program.
They used the HP 41C pocket calculator. It was used in 9 space shuttle missions in the 80s. How about that?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Look, dude, you can spell Shell Oil if you put it upside down.
All right, this is your California governor?
Yeah,
Not
Gavin
mine,
Newsom
yours.
signed a slate of bills today aimed at beginning the process of reparations for black descendants of enslaved people, including a measure that requires the state to apologize for perpetuating slavery. They're also going to display a plaque on the state capitol that includes the following. The state of California apologizes for perpetuating the harms African Americans faced by having imbued. Now they're back to African Americans?
That's what I mean. I think this plaque's going to have to be updated like 60 times.
Yeah, they should leave that part magnetic. Having imbued racial prejudices through segregation, public and private discrimination, and unequal dispersal of state and federal funding, and declares that such actions shall not be repeated. Now, do you think the right media is going to bring this up in any way? Do you think the gut-filled writers have cleared their desks for this story?
Well, yeah, they're going to be like, here comes the loudest virtue signaling ever.
Yeah.
And it kind of is a little like California is doing this. Like, what does the exact thing say? Perpetuating the harms of African Americans. And it's like, meanwhile, it's like elbow, Alabama and Mississippi. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah. I mean, look, in the end, why get upset about it? What are we doing here? You know? So there's an apology that's going to mean a lot to a certain group of people, and it's no fucking skin off your back if you don't agree with this. If you do think it's virtual signaling, okay, so it is. Like, why get upset about it? Why will it get into the news as like, what the fuck is wrong with California? I mean, you know, the Queen apologized. The Queen of England apologized to Ireland. Did you know that? Queen Elizabeth?
I did know that, yes.
It was kind of a shitty, half-assed apology, but it was an effort. South Africa, obviously, de Klerk apologized about apartheid. You know, New Jersey apologized to New York for all those Guidos that came in for the weekends.
You know, slavery was never legal in California. So, like, to do this, I think it is a big, like, you know, elbow to other famous states.
Yeah.
Or states
All right.
infamous for their slavery.
A mother was hauled out of Disney California Adventure Park alongside her hysterical children.
Wait, when did you put that? Did you just put this in?
No, it's been in.
Oh, all right, go ahead. Cold read.
After she tried passing the kids off as toddlers so they could sneak into the park for free. The mother was then surrounded by Disney security and led out in handcuffs. Her two young daughters are seen holding onto their mother, bawling and shouting help in Spanish. Helpo! Helpo!
Yes, clearly.
Getting arrested at the happiest place on earth. By the way, a one-day pass to Disneyland is $104.
That's where it starts.
Oh, no. Then you got to pay another $65 to get into the other park. That's the Park Hopper Pass. And then, of course, you got to buy the Fast Pass, which I think is probably like another $50. And if you don't buy it, you're going on 2 rides the whole fucking day. You're just standing online watching the people that have more money go right past you.
Jeez.
And then, okay, parking, that's probably going to be $25. Then you got to buy a hot dog for $16. Of course you're going to sneak your kid. My mom used to sneak us into movies, subways, everything. It's the American culture.
Was it a little embarrassing that the daughters were crying, holding on to her when they're 21 years old each? It seems a little overkill.
I thought that they should be actually arrested by cops that are dressed as, I looked this up, there are Disney cops. There's our Officer Carmody, who was from the ugly Dachshund. And
Dachshund, yeah.
There was Officer Judy Hopps, who was a bunny from the movie Zootopia. And there was Chief Bogo from Zootopia Police Department. So he's an African Buffalo police officer. They should be the ones dragging them out.
Your poor laptop. Compared to this to the searches that you're normally doing in there on despicable websites, and then you have this.
X-Hamster. That's my, if we can have another sponsor for the show, I'm going to go X-Hamster. Oh my God. The categories they give you, it's crazy. Like, people are very into old people lately.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, also, a lot of comedians have talked about this. What is up with the incest?
Yeah.
It's everywhere. They've repurposed clips and now are claiming that they're brother and sister and that they're, forget the stepmother category.
Stepmother I get, but sister and brother, that is really, Weird. I could see friends of your sister.
There's also mom's son, not just stepmom.
Mm.
There's lots of it. It's like it's kind of, I don't know what's going on there.
I had a friend who used to have sex with his first cousin for years, like when they were in their 20s.
Well, with protection, hopefully.
I would imagine. Yeah.
There we go. Entertainment. What is this story?
I love how sometimes I bring something up and you just go, I'm not touching that. Let's just move on.
Well, I mean, I'm spending a lot of time in Tennessee. You don't think I'm surrounded by it?
Entertainment. Police are investigating in the wake of a swatting incident. You know what swatting is?
Isn't that where you hit someone?
No, it's when you call the police.
Because the SWAT team goes in.
Yeah, the SWAT team goes in. You do it to people. You make them. So anyway, Jennifer Aniston's home was swatted in L.A. They got a concerning phone call that led them to make a welfare check. And they said they got a call from someone allegedly concerned about their friend, saying they were not doing well and alluding to depression. Police noted that this was when they realized whose house they were at, and soon after they spoke with Aniston, checked on her well-being. The 55-year-old clarified that she was fine. They said when she came to the door, her face did not look surprised. They said it didn't actually move at all. So
right, it's so hard to tell.
Know her reaction. And I wonder if the cops just instinctively went around the house and checked the hot tub first.
Listen, and she had to explain, we're fine. We're on a break. We're on a break. Isn't that one of the famous Friends lines?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I watched 9 minutes of that show in my entire life.
Yeah. The swatting is it. I wonder how they can double check this swatting. Like, before why wouldn't, there's probably nonstop swatting calls.
Well, she's got security. She probably has 2 or 3 people at the house at any given time that the police could reach out to.
That's a good point, too. All right, so this Diddy stuff, it's really heating up. Are you seeing it on your feed?
No.
Oh, my God. The Bieber stuff, and then I heard these lyrics where he talks about going to a Diddy party. This is Justin Bieber singing. And then, anyway.
Oh, the interview with him I've seen. That's creepy as shit. Where he says he's about to spend 24 hours with Diddy, and he knows how to throw a party, and I'm in his control. I do whatever he wants me to do.
No, it's really bad. And all these clips are being unsurfaced, and like Howard Stern's interview with Usher. But there's one conspiracy theory.
Or what
out
about
there.
Cat Williams? Have you seen? He talked about him like a year before this happened.
He said 2024 is going to be the year where it all comes out. So anyway, there's going to be a lot of collateral damage. And I was reading about how terrified Jay-Z and Beyonce are. Now, then I was exposed to this conspiracy theory I'd never heard of. So there's this woman, Kathy White, and allegedly she was Jay-Z's side piece. And allegedly she was pregnant. And this was the same month that Beyonce was announcing her first pregnancy. And so the conspiracy theory is that they were dating, didn't want it to get out. She was about to do an interview, and I think and again, it's all allegedly, that she was Jay-Z's side piece and that was pregnant with his child. And what is true is in her apartment in New York City, and she was successful. I think she was a publicist. She was 29 years old. And she, right around that week of the interview, was found dead in her apartment.
No.
Alone. And what I can dig up, and I haven't tried very hard, but is they eventually called it an aneurysm.
Did they confirm that she was pregnant?
I can't find that. I mean, that obviously they did an autopsy. A 29-year-old is just dead in her apartment. And
oh my God.
But I am reminded of the Gary Shandling line when Robert Blake really wanted his wife like dead, like had said so. And then terrible marriage, really needs her to go away. He goes in a restaurant, comes back out, and someone murdered her in the car in the alley. And Shanley goes, no one is that lucky. and it's like, if any of this were true, if she were pregnant, or even if she was just going to go public being his side piece and all this, and then a healthy 29-year-old gets an, I mean, what are the odds against an aneurysm in a healthy 29-year-old? I think they are crazy slim.
I think aneurysm is the one that is the most easy to get away with, causing an aneurysm, because there's ways of causing it without it being traceable. And one of them is actually listening to Jay-Z's music for too long.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
So listen, I doubt it's true, but it is juicy. And I'm wondering if any listeners have any info on this.
Okay. Write us at fitzdogradio@gmail.com. Speaking of crazy, during an appearance on Tucker Carlson's cross-country tour, Roseanne Barr insisted that Democrats, quote, eat babies, love the taste of human flesh, and they drink human blood. This is not bullshit. It's true. Carlson treated the insane comments as valid. He invoked another conspiracy theory, this one about Haitian migrants in Ohio, cracking, so it's not just the dogs and cats, not just the pets.
Right.
I could read her whole rant, but it's just crazy. It's she does spots at the, she lives in Austin and she comes down to the mothership sometime. Last time I was in town, I saw her go up. Dude, she was a good comic. She tanked it. It was brutal. She even came off and she was in the green room going like, oh my God, what just happened? All she does is smoke pot, like tons of pot, and she's out of her mind.
She was living in Hawaii, right? For a while, like almost off the grid.
I'll be honest. She was never a great comic. She did a couple hot sets on The Tonight Show, and then she got her sitcom. She never really was like a road warrior. She was never doing hours on the road week after week. She never got that good. I think she just had a great voice. I think she is naturally very funny, but she doesn't go down in the lexicon of great comics as far as I'm concerned.
No, but she burst onto the stand-up scene with the domestic goddess persona, and it was culturally a big, sort of event, and
I never burst on the scene, but I've sort of leaked into the scene.
Yeah. You've bled into the scene. Slow bleeding. All right,
should we
it's time to make America, Florida. Here we go. All right, Florida man paddles around Tampa home as Helene's storm surge floods the living room. Do you see the picture I put in there of him?
Yep.
Oh, my God. He's in a kayak. Stunning home camera video captured Matt Heller paddling around his flooded Tampa living room in a kayak that he intended to use as an escape plan as Hurricane Helene's historic storm surge came out of nowhere. Yeah, nobody knew about this sneaky little hurricane with all its animated paths showing it going right to your home. How could they...
Even if you're not watching the news, your phone was lighting up with messages from your fucking governor telling you to get out.
It came out of nowhere. He sat in the purple and white kayak that he had nearby for an emergency situation and began paddling around his home, which still had its lights on.
Wow.
Quote, I was floating around. I was surprised the power stayed on for as long as it did. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I just kept toasting waffles and using the blow dryer to dry my kayak. I mean, so the picture Greg and I can see, I'd say the water is half up the walls of this room and every light is on in the room.
And he's smiling. He's having a good time.
I mean, no fear. By the way, you're not going to go hit the switch and at least turn it off or kill the power yourself somehow?
Do you want to live in a state where you need a kayak in your living room just in case? When you have a pool, when you have a pool slide attached to your roof, that's when you know maybe it's time to move a little north.
I mean, Florida couldn't insure they stopped insuring homes. Like This is just the nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
I
they
think.
dropped my mom's insurance.
It's crazy. All right, so now we're going to make New York, Florida. We've never done this.
Okay.
Okay, Mount Kisco, New York, 2:45 a.m. on a Saturday, last Saturday. A man at a bar does the right thing, Greg. He decides that he drank too much and he cannot drive.
Very
He
good.
calls and wakes up his buddy and asks him to come pick him up. Buddy is super solid, says yes. On his way to pick him up, the police pull over the buddy who blows a .18 and is arrested for DUI. That's
amazing.
Perfect. It's so crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, he was driving erratically apparently, and someone called the police and said, "There's a dude," because he had run a red light. He was swerving all over the place. And just to put it in perspective, in New York, a blood alcohol content of more than .05 is legal evidence that you're impaired. A BAC of .08 or higher is evidence of intoxication. And a BAC, which is what he had, of .18 is evidence of, quote, aggravated driving while intoxicated.
I think I'd be more aggravated if I was being run off the road by this guy.
He was more aggravated when he got the call, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this is like therapists that go to other therapists to talk about their problems.
Yeah, it is like that.
Luckily, their friend showed up at jail to bail them out, but then he was locked up on an outstanding warrant.
That's exactly what it's like. That call must have been like, dude, I don't think. And it's like, I'm drunker than you are. They probably had to figure out who was drunker.
Yeah. Well, so the other guy's still drunk at the bar, waiting for his friend to show up.
Yeah, cursing him like crazy.
God, he was aggravated.
All right, now we're on to sports. Here we go.
9 members of the Tufts University men's lacrosse team were hospitalized this month with the rare muscular injury rhabdomyolysis. The players became unwell after a voluntary supervised 45-minute workout led by a university alumni who graduated recently from the Buds Navy SEAL training program. 9 of them were hospitalized. It's a condition where muscles break down and leak their components into the bloodstream. It can cause damage to the kidneys and other organs. It could be lethal. In an unrelated story, there were no reported cases of rape on campus this week.
Lacrosse teams are dropping the ball.
Jesus.
They were innocent at Duke, by the way.
They were. I know. It was a cheap joke, but I took it. This show, I was thinking about what this show is the other day, and I think it's basically 2 guys half understanding the news and then making jokes about low-hanging fruit. That's basically what it is.
We should change it to, what were it, low-hanging fruit?
Yeah.
Papers?
By the way, can we get some Navy SEALs training in the WNBA this month? Can we send a couple of those guys over?
Think about this guy. He couldn't wait to torture them.
Yeah.
50 players participated.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not like he just went to some like lazy frat. I mean, these guys are like college lacrosse players.
Yeah.
That must have been some workout.
Well, yeah, those Navy SEALs, man, it's no joke what they go through. It's really intense. My nephew went through it. He was in the Buds, and he made it through 6 months of being tortured. And then in the last week, they call it Hell Week, he got knocked out because he was 3 seconds too long on an open ocean swim. And that was it. I mean, they got to lay upside down and backwards in the waves as they crash over them, as somebody holds their legs down in freezing cold water, and then they got to carry logs with another guy on their shoulders through the sand. It's brutal.
That is brutal. Well, there was good news with this story, though. The lacrosse team killed 6 terrorists during the workout.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
good.
It worked out.
All right, let's move down to this day in history.
Here we go. I got that. Oh, man, it was slim pickings. Let's just say it was this week in history. I had to go a couple of days ahead to get some juicy ones. Okay. American actor James Dean, who became a symbol of the confused, restless, and idealistic youth of the 50s, died in an automobile crash as he drove to a car rally in Salinas, California. What year did this happen? Give or take 3 years.
Rebel Without a Cause, Giant, and what was his? He only made 3 movies, and they were made. I think they were made in 1950 or so. I'm gonna say 55.
It is exactly 55.
No.
Yes.
Nice.
American baseball player Babe Ruth became the first player to hit 60 home runs in a single season. His record stood until Roger Maris hit 61. And then I'm not even going to tell you that year. But what year, give or take, I don't think you're good at this. I'm going to give or take 10 years. What year did Babe Ruth become the first player to hit 60 home runs?
Well, Babe Ruth pops up a lot in our this day in history, so I have some sense. I'm going to say 1933.
Wrong. 27. Now,
how many years did you give me?
Did I give you 10?
I think you gave me 8 years, so yeah, I scored.
I don't even know. All right, I guess you did. That's pathetic.
Yeah, you pitied me and you gave me 8 years.
I thought all right. Roger Maris, do you know what year he hit 61 home runs?
Roger Maris. I'm going to say, how many years you giving me?
4.
1956.
I love it. 1961.
Shit.
61 and 61. That's how you do that one.
Okay.
Let's see now. What else do I got here?
My sister's 55 today. Congratulations, Deirdre.
Happy birthday.
Love you. Our sisters went to high school together.
They sure did. The opera The Magic Flute by Mozart premiered in Vienna on this day, give or take 50 years. What year?
I have no fucking idea.
Did Mozart's Magic Flute hit the scene?
1740.
You missed. 1791. You missed by 1 year.
Oh, fuck.
I love that. All right. This is a sad one. Remember the Las Vegas shooting, right?
Yeah.
At the music festival.
Right.
Oh, my God. 58 people died. But this is what, like, the last 10 years has been. It's a bit blurry with everything that happened. So, do you remember what year this happened?
The shooting in Vegas, I'm going to say it wasn't that
I'm
long
going to say
ago.
give or take. I'm going to give you 2 years, which is a 5-year window.
All right. I'm going to say that didn't happen long ago. 2017?
It happened exactly that year.
Nice.
God, it seems more recent, but then that was, pre-COVID and everything. Yeah. Let's see if you know this one, and then oh, that's an interesting one. How about this? Johnny Carson began hosting The Tonight Show on this date in what year, give or take 4 years?
That's easy. Jack Parr. He was after Jack Parr, who did it for like fucking 30 years or something. So you go back, it probably started in 1940. No, he didn't host it for that long. What am I saying?
By the way, Jack Parr, but then what about, what's his name? The other guy.
Oh, yeah.
Who used to read the lyrics, and Letterman took so much from him.
Yeah. I'm going to say 1960.
Good for you. 1962.
Nice.
Wow, I really can't know.
I'm on fire today. I think I only missed one, and it was by 1 year. No, and I missed Mozart. I missed two. Steve Allen, who, Letterman pointed to as being the greatest that ever did it. Stole a lot of stuff from him.
Yeah, almost.
He wrote
like
a couple
tributes
good
to him.
books. Steve Allen wrote a couple really good books.
Oh, nice. All right. Sadly, we got to move on to the obituary.
Let's move on.
And that's all, folks.
One of the greats died of stage and film. Maggie Smith. A lot of you know her from Downton Abbey and Harry Potter. She has 2 Oscars, 3 Emmys, and countless stage awards to her credit. She died Friday in London. She was 89 years old. My story was, there's also a funny side story, but my dad didn't want to go to this play. And my stepmother said, why don't you come with me to this play? It's supposed to be the best play like this season. And sure enough, Maggie Smith won the Tony Award for it. It was called Lettuce and Lovage. And it was, I then learned today, reading her obituary, it was written for her. It was written with her in mind. And it's this castle, and she's a tour guide who doesn't know what she's talking about, and she makes up stuff on the tour. Anyway, I just remember dying laughing the whole time. But here's the funny part of the story. My stepmother and I are at this play, and all of a sudden it's intermission, and my stepmother's starving, and so am I. I'm like, the line looks like it's a half hour long at the concession. I'm like, I'm going to go outside. Do you want a pretzel? Fine. Get the pretzel, come back. Eating it. All of a sudden, I see her like bite, like, something hurt. And she looks over at me and she goes, spit the pretzel out of your mouth. And I'm like, what? She's like, don't eat it. There are rocks in the pretzels.
What?
I'm like, there's rocks in the pretzels. And so I then look at her as she's fishing. She's looking for the rock. And then as she's like, I can't find it. She smiles and her tooth is gone.
No.
Her front right tooth. No. But that was the rock. She didn't realize that the pretzel pulled the tooth out in her mouth. So as soon as I see that, I just start eating my pretzel again. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to have a problem.
That's a true story?
Yes. And then the second act was even funnier than the first. And she had to cover her mouth. She was dying laughing, but mortified that she had this gaping tooth hole on the upper.
Oh my God, that's
part of her mouth.
crazy!
Yeah. I know.
Holy
it was
shit.
really funny. But that was Lettuce and Lovage, and that was my first time exposed to Maggie Smith. And oh my God, was she funny?
She was fucking solid. And apparently, I remember 60 Minutes did a piece on her a few years ago, and she's horrified. She gets so afraid of acting. She never got used to it. Every time she said that she's hard to work with because of it. Can you imagine all those years and you still go through that? She said she went through it with Downton Abbey, and she wasn't even a lead in that. She was like a nice come in, kill the scene.
Oh.
Every episode she was in, she was the highlight of the episode.
I, even just physically, what she was known for that, but I remember in Downton Abbey, they turned on the lights and electricity or indoor lighting was new, and she was like, huh, it was this lightning had just struck in the room. She was so funny, and her lines were so vicious. They were great.
Let's cheer up.
Let's cheer up. A little funnies. Here we go.
If you're new to the show, every week we give you guys one single frame of a comic. It's uncaptioned, and we ask you, the listener, the viewer. Some of you view, most of you listen. We don't get a lot of viewers. More people should view. Go to the YouTube
I think
page.
the opposite.
And then, so the frame last week was two guys. They've got on white smocks and they've got angel wings and they're standing on clouds. One guy is talking to the other guy. David Bentley. Oh, and by the way, you win a koozie. We pick the best one and then you win a koozie. So David Bentley's submission was, say, did you see any toilets up here? Jeff Plasted said, I told you riding a motorcycle with a golf bag on your back was a bad idea.
Ah, too close to home.
Jacob Tinman said, as a masochist, was kind of looking forward to hell.
All right. These are all like, clever.
Zach from Yuma said, dude, the line from Maryland is 80 years long. I fucking love that.
Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah.
All right. And
all right. That's solid.
That's her heaven?
Well, I actually do a joke about this. I have this exact joke. I talk about how heaven is everybody wants to go up and fuck Marilyn Monroe, but this is a hell for her because she has to fuck everybody. So I don't know if this guy heard this from my act, but yeah, I've been doing that bit for a little while. So maybe that disqualifies him. Sid Talk said, bad news, Carl. He said being Mormon doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
Emric Hasselpop says, funny thing, I get this page from Ahmad, and then boom, I'm here. Jim Guglielmo said, I just ran into Jesus. They say you shouldn't meet your heroes.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. Taylor Nelson said, if I knew the entrance exam was going to be this hard, I would have paid more attention in Sunday school.
Good. Solid.
Steve says, where the bitch is at.
That's pretty good.
Todd says, looks like we have another vacancy. Oh, really? Who was canceled? Someone named P. Diddy.
Uh-huh.
Matt says, if those Diddy tapes get out, I'm screwed.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I would have to say my vote is for Ahmed and the pager.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was Emric Hasselpop. Hassel. And then I liked the line from Marilyn is 80 years old, but I'm disqualifying him because I have a similar joke. I'm not saying he stole it from me. It's just too close.
I get it.
All right, so the winner this week is Emric. Congratulations. Send us your address to the same place you sent. If you want to send in a submission, fitzdogradio@gmail.com. We ask you to put the joke and your name directly under it. Makes it easy for me to cut and paste. Thank you for your consideration.
Yes.
Next week, the caption is... there is a king on the throne, and he's talking to his... what is the king? His right hand? Or his hand, and there's a court jester standing in front of the king, and he's juggling some balls. So the king is talking to his guy on the throne, and he's saying the king is saying something.
I'm gonna try to get this for you. Go ahead.
All right, Hagar the Horrible. This one I like. It's not about abducting and violating women this week, even though that's normally what this comic strip that children are attracted to because it's cute little animated figures. But this week it goes a little bit deeper. Are you paying attention, Mike?
No, I'm like, sometimes the king's assistant is called a regent.
Okay, it could be a regent. In Game of Thrones, he's called the Hand.
Yes, at the king's hand. I like that. All right. Anyway.
All right, so here's Hagar. He's standing on a battlefield, and he's talking to his opponent. And there's arrows flying all through the air in both directions. And his opponent goes, I'm the good guy. And Hagar goes, I'm the good guy. And then this other guy in a purple coat, they look at him, and Hagar goes, who are you? He goes, I'm the rich guy. I make the arrows. And I thought, this is a real comment. Isn't it? On like, who was the guy that...
I'm Halliburton.
Yeah, I'm Halliburton. Or Rothschilds. The Rothschilds famously would back both sides in wars and make money from both sides.
The name's Burton. Halliburton.
Now we got the Lockhorns. Leroy says to Loretta, offering me a penny for my thoughts to get my 2 cents worth doesn't seem fair. That's cute.
Clever.
That's it for them.
Oh, all right. Well, boy, thank God, because now we have all the time we need for Garfield.
Oh.
Here we go. 3 frames. So John is
This
talking.
is number 5, by the way, of the top 10.
Number of the top 10 best Garfields of all time. John and Garfield are in each of the 3 frames. And in the first frame, John says, remember the time I said something funny? And Garfield thinks, I guess, do I? Do I? I think it's do I? And in the next frame, he's dying laughing. And John's looking at him a little like, I guess, pleased, kind of. And it's ha, 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 ha. And he's laughing so hard, Garfield, tears are coming out. And then the next frame, they both look glum. And what your Garfield is thinking is no.
It's not bad.
What,
I mean,
what do you mean that's not bad?
I mean, I like the sarcasm. I like,
It's like a 4-year-old's like psych.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I guess my expectation, my bar is very low. And I think as Garfield goes, this is not horrible.
I mean, ha, 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 no. It's just the oldest device. Oldest device in the world. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? It's great. I agree. It's great. I'm going to be more positive. Yeah.
Who looks on fire? Fuego this week. Blondie.
I've never seen her in like just a red dress.
I know. It's a new look for her. She's got on a very form-fitting mini dress. It goes right to her knee. And the boobs are just so succulent and full. And she's looking in the mirror. She's putting on a little lipstick. Hair is done up high. The calves are just 2 bowling pins. You know I love that. I want to knock those bowling pins down.
Split them.
I'm going to split the
1-9
bowling pins.
split. Or whatever it is.
And then Dopey's wearing the same fucking outfit he always wears. It's like a black tux with a red bow tie. And he goes, it sure takes you a lot longer to get ready than it takes me. And she goes, probably, but I'm worth the wait. Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. Are you going to criticize her? You should be sitting in the corner with those velvet pants around your ankles, taking in this work of art, who's making herself go from a 9 3/4 to an 11. And you're watching that. And you're complaining about how long it takes? Get him out. Throw him the fuck out. What are you doing, Blondie?
He's not worth the wait. Can we talk about that?
He's not
Blondie?
worth the wait. Yeah.
I mean, you're waiting forever to have this human you're attached to become a real man.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
And also, do you want to be on time? No. When you walk into a party with a woman like Blondie, you want to be about 27 minutes late so that every head turns. Plates fall to the ground. Dogs growl.
And everyone incorrectly thinks to themselves, how lucky is that guy?
It's like the Eric Clapton song, I Feel Wonderful Tonight. We go to a party and everyone turns to see this beautiful lady who's walking along with me. And I think to myself, I feel wonderful tonight. Speaking of wonderful, our new sponsor, Ground News, is a great way, like us, if you're looking for relevant stories that are going to give you both sides, and you're going to get some kind of a sense of if they're coming from the left or the right or a media conglomerate or an independent. groundnews.com/SP. Get 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan. Also, we love Mint Mobile. Go to mintmobile.com/papers. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month on a 3-month plan. All right. Mike, anything you want to promote?
Let's see. I don't think. I mean, I say the same thing every week. I haven't really done anything. I'm up to season 4 in Slow Horses. I'm enjoying that very much.
Loving that.
Yeah. If you happen to be in a city where Tedeschi Trucks is playing, I saw them this past week. Amazing again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. That's what I'm promoting.
We want to thank Midcoast Media for doing a fine job as always. Still haven't heard back from Chris Denman. I hope he's okay.
No, he wrote you. He wrote back. He wrote you back. He was finishing something up.
I don't see that. Did he?
Yeah.
Let's see.
You all started just wrapping the meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Mike, we'll see you. I'll be back Sunday night at midnight. See you next week.
Enjoy that late night up there.
Oh,
Enjoy the Aurora Borealis. Enjoy your balmy day on Sunday.
Yep.
All right. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
It's the Sunday Papers Podcast. Oh, yeah. It's the Sunday Papers Podcast. Oh, yeah. It's the Sunday Paper Podcast. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the Sunday Paper Podcast. 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 Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the Sunday Paper Podcast. It's the Sunday Paper Podcast. It's the Sunday Paper Avocado. It's a slice of avocado. It's a Sunday Paper Podcast. It's a slice of avocado. It's a Sunday Paper Podcast. It's a slice of avocado. It's a Sunday Paper Podcast. On a big flask. On a big flask. It's a Sunday Paper Podcast. On your white ass. On your white ass. Big flask. Big flask. On a shit shack. On a shit shack. Sit last. Sit. Get your shit gas. Get your shit last on the shit pass. Check out Greg Fitzsimmons' new comedy special called You Know Me, exclusively on YouTube.